All right, let's jump into things. Well, got so much to unpack in that. Like all these charts are just absolutely nailing their positions in that. So these levels are really sort of you can tell that this is what the market's sort of looking at the moment. So where we are, 10:30 on the dot, pretty much now on the 12th of February. So look, I'll start off with DXY because as you can see here, this is pretty much the call from the weekend. Yeah, there was a little bit of fluffing around with it all, but up into the zone, respecting this sort of rising resistance, back down, and this is exactly where we sort of thought we were going to be aiming for this to be sort of coming down towards. And as you can see, sort of through pretty much sort of end of Asia Euro session yesterday, it really just cut through down here. And obviously, as we said, sort of took out those lows from was this Monday's lows and just bang came round down here. Buyers stepped in as we expected them to be. Like this is the thing with always with these sort of support resistance areas when we're aiming for them. You know, very rarely will anything break through first time. You know, we pick out these areas. This is where buyers are going to be, whether it's buyers or whether it's people sort of targeting that for short side moves. You're going to see these things react accordingly at least once through these areas. This is why you need to have TPs. This is why you need to take profit along the way because there's a chance that this can continue and can move all the way back up here. We got CPI coming out. CPI comes out hot. Inflation's a bit of an issue still. Well, that's grounds for, hey, let's hold the rates higher for a little bit longer and maybe push it up a little bit more. So, you know what I mean? This is definitely the kind of times where you need to make sure you're putting some stuff in the kitty. So, anyway, long story short, we come down here. We got the potential bear flag playing out over here. It's respecting both sides of it all now. This gives us three touches, you know, more or less to the point over here, and more or less three touches on the top side. So we can see that the market is looking at this and sort of working off this. So really what we can take away from that now is, okay, let's look at these horizontal lines. This will be an early indicator down here. So most likely if we do come down to these areas, you're going to see a push down, push back up, retest, and then maybe a move down here. Now, as I said, things don't go through first times. These aren't major levels in that. So it's kind of like, you know, as you can see, this is a top side of a major level here, this gray area through here, where we had the sort of buyers through here. Came down here, shot back up. It's the same thing on different time frames. Price action is exactly the same. You know, you came down, didn't make it through, shot back up, came down, didn't make it through. And as you can see, the buyers are taking it up. The buyers are taking it up. And they each time, if you look at this now, they've tried to really rally it up here. Of course, we had that little bit of supporting news. Market says, great, I was selling it here. Now I can sell it here. Bang, smacked it down. Moved up a little bit through the last couple of. That's great. I can sell it here instead of here. Bang, sells it down. There's a point where if you take out these lows down here, they're not going to go, okay, look, let's wait for a push back up, and it's just going to melt down a little bit more. And obviously, a little price target 105.87, looking for that sort of measured move, sort of completion of that bear flag. Um, what we're sort of seeing now, though, sort of obviously, is it's stalling a little bit. We've got CPIs, as I mentioned before. We're seeing a lot of these other things sort of like come into their sort of respective resistance areas as well. Hence why, you know, because obviously, you know, DXY, it's a basket. It's made up of, you know, your pound, your euro, a lot of the euro, your yen, Canadian, these kind of things. Aussie's not part of this, as we know, but, you know, we can use Aussie, use DXY for Aussie, just in the sense that, you know, we can see. I've lost my train of thought there. We can use it as a broad-based sort of barometer indicator on how the market is reacting to US dollar as a whole. So it's not a direct sort of thing, but you know it's also like trying to use DXY for some of these other pairs because you know just because you're trading yen against the US dollar, yen's a little bit more sensitive, not as much as the euro, but probably just after the euro. But you know, trying to use pound with the DXY, you know, DXY isn't just a one-to-one with the pound like it is with the euro. It's a broad-based idea, and then you've got your local news and all this kind of stuff with it all, local data, which obviously sort of weighs into things. So where we are here, this is on the 4 hour. We're coming down. We saw a little bit of a bounce. It's like it's not looking sort of super here. We haven't obviously opened this one yet. This last little candle here, we'll sort of see what happens. Look, there is a possibility we see a little bit of a squeeze up here, but I would say definitely we're probably going to be sort of just milling around this bottom here at the moment. I don't see grounds for maybe necessarily a massive move, possibly back up to retest these lows, the weekly, previous sort of weekly, should it break out of this little box up here. But I think anything that sort of like moves up to this area here is potentially just going to be sold back down into this little group here. So what we're kind of really looking for is a breakout the bottom side. If this does come out the bottom side here, this is the area where you'd expect something to happen. Not necessarily a reversal move all the way back up. As I said, it's not a major zone. It's kind of like an intermediate zone through this little move here. But we can sort of expect that, there probably may be a little bit of sort of reaction here, because when you've got these big bits of data coming out, you're generally not going to see major breakouts prior to the data coming out. The data is going to be the thing that adds the fuel to the fire. People take their positions prior to it all. As you can see, they're obviously, very sort of heavy US dollar at the moment. So, most likely you might, like we saw with the NFP the other day, you may move down and then sort of move back up, move back down, and could sort of oscillate through and around this kind of area here. So I'm not expecting anything major today, particularly after sort of. All right, and I'm back. Um, Kind of lost where I was at with all that, but look, long story short, as I was saying, I don't think we're going to be seeing any sort of major breaks. The risk is the move of a major break down this side. It's going to take something pretty dramatic, I would say, to see this to just go up here. Even if you just look at this as a sort of structural base, yes, you got higher lows, but this is bear flagging. Look, as I've said, really 109 is the level you need to sort of get above and hold for this to be a negated move down here. And then you're sort of dealing with much larger sort of range up over here. But as for now, it does look like it's coming down here. Though, as I said, CPI out tonight, that comes in hot. That's going to be something that's going to want to sort of keep this sort of area going for now. But as you can see, this is an area where we sort of said buyers are going to be, buyers are going to be. We tested it a number of times. So there's that horizontal, the larger horizontal at play. There's also the bear flag at play. The bear flag is good because it gives us a measured move. Should we take out 107.30, move down to 105.80 and change. All right, let's rock along. We got gold. Ah, mate, what a move of gold yesterday. So, as I said, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so first of all, that we were sitting here yesterday. This was the plan. Come down here, grab the buys, look to move back up. Yes, it came down here, right into this zone. This is like exactly where we said we were going to see. Between this wick and this little zone, it's pretty much just took that in almost into the cent on a $2,800 or nearly $2,900 sort of a thing. That's pretty good. However, of course, we went way up first. So let's get onto a lower time frame so we can see how this sort of happened. So look, this was the wedge, the little ledge that we were talking about, and this ledge worked out perfectly. Let's actually drag it across because it's a nice little oscillating level for us here. This is the ledge we were talking about. I said, look, once we get under here, bang, we're going to have, yes, that happened here. But we did also fire up here first. And oh my God, if you get on this onto the top, this is something that it's funny because I was talking to a mate afterwards and I said, look, this is what comes with a lot of trading. Like the plan was to go down to get long to move up. This thing just took off. It had a couple of headlines. We're up in the price target area. It was just, euphoric. Wow, it's going up, it's going up. And this was an incredible move. And I missed the long side of this. But when I saw excuse me, when I saw the speed that this was moving up and the direction that it's moving up in, this is not sustainable. And I actually sort of shorted a bunch of positions up through here. I actually put my the largest single short on from 38 yesterday. So just up over here. And it absolutely crunched it down. Like I would say more often than not, eternally looking long on things, particularly with gold, while it's so bullish, more, as I said, buy the dip, yada, yada. But this was a euphoric blow off. And this is what I say, this comes with, years of trading and seeing these moves and thinking, look, this is not sustainable. Like, this thing is just going up, 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 up. Look at this angle that it's coming up in over here. This is dropping down onto the 5 minutes. I even put a post on X I think we're at 40, so it was about here. Saying, when drop, mate, when drop. And, I think it was about 15 minutes later, we got the drop and it went bang. So, look, that 38, I sort of took out at 29. So, obviously, hindsight, you're leaving a lot on the table. Bang, down here. So I ended up shorting all the way through this move here. I shorted through this move here. I shorted 27, 7, 8 bucks or so. No, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 bucks is kind of about the size of the gold move that I'll sort of lock in. The last couple of $10. All in all, as I said, 38 was the top of my shorts. 88 was when I closed out. And as you can see, I captured that last bit pretty much perfectly from here. So beautiful trade, very well banked on that one for myself. And yeah, that was one of the better trades that I've taken for quite a while. And look, the main sort of thing, it's because I've got these price targets here. And there's a reason behind where I put my price targets, whether this is on a smaller scale. This is a big one that we've been working on for months to drag up to this. It hits these things, pushes back down. I mean, look at the similar sort of price action around these things here. Hits it, you get out. It goes up a little bit further, that's fine, but it does eventually play out after the price targets are met. Yes, my price target was a little bit lower than the measured move of this, but if you take the measured move of this last flag here, it only went sort of 73 up to 87 bucks past that measured move price target before you got a bigger move pulling back. So once those price targets are met, clear the book, clear the idea of what you want to do, the positions that you want to take with it all. One second. Yep. Clear the positions and clear the thoughts of sort of what you want to do with the directions and sort of look at the price flow with it all. And as I said, yesterday I was looking for the pullbacks down into this zone, called an audible, moved up here, started shorting, caught the big move down here. Bits and pieces, quite a few trades through this area here. I did also flip, and I did sort of stick to the plan. I got long from just the tops of these wicks over here, so 86 or so, but it was late, and I think I got out around 91, 92. So, there's three parts to the trades that I always say. So there's the analysis, definitely giving myself a tick on this one. Execution, giving myself a big tick on this one and that, because analysis is there. People can say, yeah, it's got to go to this point and it's going to do that. That's fine. But you need to put your money where your mouth is. So anybody can say, yes, this is going to go to this level. And, given a long enough timeline, they're probably going to be correct at one point. But you need to actually sort of execute on that and put your money where your mouth is. And that's what I did. And then management through this period, I'll give it a 3/4 mark in that, because I mean, as I said, 38. If you look at that, 38's up here. That's a 10, 15, 20 grand trade. Had you just sort of done nothing, probably even more actually with the size of that position. But it's as I said, that's not my style. Anyway, regardless of it all, coming back down here, analysis. Get in on this wick. Came down a little bit further. That's fine. We said this yesterday. Back into this zone here. I expect the market to shoot back out here. And this is the point of these videos as well, to sort of give myself an idea of, am I in tune with what the market is actually doing? Or am I just pie in the sky, having a bit of a guess and hoping for the best? And as you can see, this is what the market was looking at. And there was expected to be a reaction here. There was a reaction. Now we've got to sort of see, is that it? Is this the whole sort of thing here? And are we going to see a bigger sort of pullback with it all? That's the big question right now. Is it going to have a little flare up here, try and suck some people in, and then come down? Is it just going to sort of, as you can see, it's opening up here now, moving up a little bit. Is this just going to flip and then turn and bang, come back down over here? We'll have to wait and see, of course. But this is the whole point of it. We could sort of say, okay, look, should this move up high here? What could be potential moves for it all. We know that this was a support area here, quite a strong sort of support as well. Like, as I said, let's take these ones, the pinpoints. These sort of areas through here gave us that ledge. We saw the stops that got rocked down through this period here. Bang. Come back up. They tried to sort of hold it back down, swap over this lot here. Enough to pop through, try to hold it, back under null, boom, boom, boom. So it's oscillating around this little level here. So for me, I think for direction, what we're going to see is through this area here, because we know that, you know, it's come the bounce, this is where the sellers stepped in. You can see it on the chart. You know, they tried to hold it here, bang, push it down, tried to come up, bang, push it down again. Now we've got sort of, this is a lower side here, where, you know, again, sort of like obviously it came down a little bit lower, but you got to allow, the wicks are really just a more allow for, you know, a bit of overshoot because there's no real sort of definite levels in this. If you get down onto a lower time frame, you can find something out, but, you know, 1 hour is as low as you want to go. So what we're seeing here is obviously the buyers stepped in this area here. Sellers stepped in this area here. Buyers have now moved up. They're now sort of holding their bid. They're like, you know what, despite all things considered, you know, 96, yep, we'll give it a shot. We've got to see, are they going to be able to sort of, one, push up here, two, overcome this area where we know the sellers are. The sellers are sitting here. So look, if we get above 29.10, it's just a shakeout, and we could see what else is to come through here. This could, I won't really call this any sort of bear flag move through here, but should this turn around and flip, what you want to see are the other buyers happy to hold 28.88, 28.80, these levels here. If these two levels go, it's not looking super, like as in, you know, we could probably sort of look a little bit lower, and we could say more down over here. And possibly in this little level here, because we've got the 68, this is a little bit of a zone through here. Let's get this one out of here. Oop. Oh, just doesn't want to work. Boom. So, as we saw, 38% retracement of this last move. This is held for as a support, you know, into this area here. So it wasn't just the one sort of thing of the sort of chart. Okay, we drew that out, that's fine. But we've also got the 38%. It's still bullish momentum. Actually, sorry, let's update this because that's not the case now. This is a bigger move here. Okay, so it's a little bit of a deeper pullback now. Now that would have updated it a little bit. So given that that's now our new high. So 50% pretty much sort of lined up here. And as you can see, there's 38 butting its head just up along here. So realistically, above 29.10, I think, okay, you know, we're back into a little bit of a sort of continuation move and potentially looking a little bit higher. I think if we sort of break below these two areas here, but probably more, you know, 28.80, I think you're looking down at 28.60. Come down over here, you've got the 76% retracement. You've got this previous horizontal, and depending how fast it comes down, if this dribbles and goes down over to this way over here, excuse me, you've also got this large rising support, which is a little bit negated at this point, but I do think you may see some sort of reaction with it all. So look, I think sort of upside is sort of like certainly still protected. I think sort of, you know, when you see such hard, fast sell downs, I think you need to respect that a little bit. And I think you need to go, okay, well, you know what, that came down pretty hard and fast. Hence why, with this little bounce up through here, if you have a look at this on the lower time frame, I started shorting again from this area over here, mid 25s, because this came so hard and fast. And I even sent a message to a mate that I trade with at this point, and I said, look, you know what I mean? Like, if you, okay, just think about the mentality. This is going up all time high. There's a lot of people trapped over here that are sort of like going, oh, great, yeah, it's going 3,000. Look, we'll go to 3,000. I'm team 3,000 for sure. I've been for a while. But this hard sell down obviously scares people. If you're long, particularly if you've bought through this period here and you haven't protected yourself, you've either lost money, you're holding drawdown, you're just praying and hoping it gets back up here so you can at least get out for nothing. And this is why I talk about sort of like the support and resistance are acting as the same. It's the same with this move down here. There's a lot of people shorting it here, shorting it here. Not everybody took their losses straight away because it just ran up through here and ran up through here. But should they get a shot to get down over here, like I said, I'm not the only one that was looking at this point, and this is why the market reacted there as well. They sort of go, okay, bang. So you got people that are happy to buy down here, as I did. You got people that are sort of short, taking their profit, covering these things. You got people that have been short down here who are saying, look, you know what, this was horrible. Did you see it? It's probably going to go to 3,000. Let me just clear the positions a bit. They close their shorts and move up over here, and you see the reaction that we got through here. It doesn't change the fact that sort of, yes, we're selling down and sold down quite hard, and that there'd be a lot of people that are scared through here. So should they get a shot to sort of like try and buy it, close their positions and get their money back, they're going to take it. And that's going to make a very heavy roof for price to overcome. And so that means that sort of like, you pick out these levels and you say, okay, what we're trying to do is find the point where that kind of sort of mentality subsided a bit. And we say, okay, look, moving up, where would the sellers be? The sellers are going to be here next. And the sellers are probably going to be here a little bit as well. I mean, this is on 30 minutes, so I don't really like anything too low like this, but you can see a little bit of a range here. Bang, breakdown, retest here. So actually, and as I point this out, this little line here, 29, where I took the thing, look at where this just came up to perfectly here, 29. So that's just the one thing, just for argument's sort of sake of this little example. I took profits on that first heavy position at 29, came down here. Oh, yes, it absolutely creamed through here. But there's probably some people going, look, buyers are here, there's a bit of a support, buyers are here, bit of a support. Where did it come straight back up to? 29. And people just went, bang, I'm out. Boom, next wave, selling down. That's what I mean, sort of like, there's going to be there's so many different moving parts of these markets, but there's going to be people that are trying to buy these things, and, as soon as they've got a chance, they're like, screw that. This thing just absolutely rocketed down. Like, as I said, I generally trade long, but when the money comes like so hard and fast with these kind of moves, you can see why people would like to be short. But the thing is, this whole move here burnt all those people out, or a lot of them out. It's up, 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 and like, so like, people sort of, maybe over positioned. They've got to sort of cut their losses. Oh, I made a new high, and it just ripped out the shorts and absolutely destroyed them. So yeah, it's certainly a crazy, crazy, crazy sort of price action going on here at the moment. But look, for now, I think these are the two areas that I'm looking for, sort of outside 88, 88 to 80, and then sort of realistically above sort of 29.10. Then we're going to have an issues at 15. We're going to have an issues at 23. I don't think this is going to, you're not going to be seeing some sort of fast move like we saw yesterday. I think the market's just going to be too cautious with that. We've got CPI coming up as well. That you got to let that shell shock kind of wear off a little bit before expecting sort of the next round of barrage and buying. All right, silver, talking about other things that just worked out perfectly. So this is what we were looking at yesterday, sort of through consolidation. We said, look, okay, we had confluence on Monday, came off here, broke, retest underside, meltdown. And this is where we were looking at, into this zone right here. And this is where, yes, it overshot it a little bit, whatever. Excuse me, I got long from 31.40, as per the plan, coming down here, got out way too quick. Got out like sort of 60, 65. So I got this little bounce up here. It was late at night. I had an awesome day. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be this will be the trade that I'll sort of like, push the envelope too far, and it'll just be the one that sort of snaps me out. So I was like, nah, let's play the thing. But of course, The bounce was good. The bounce was very solid. Got it back up into this range. The close is actually quite solid. So again, with this thing, you got to sort of think, okay, this is quite a strong reaction and very vertical, and it's really consolidating the bounce up the top side over here. I think though, this is really just again what you're kind of looking for. You got your three zones through here. Price target was met, a little bit higher, and then sell downs. That's fine. Anyway, long story short, let's see if we can find anything through here. You'd like to see probably this little area here overcome. You do have underside of this channel. You've got a more short-term potential channel like this, and you've got this sort of horizontal area through here. So I think, honestly, well, really, 32.50 is where you need to sort of get above. So where are we at now? 70 cents or so. So a lot of work to be done. Again, you got to sort of allow them to sort of have another bit of a move down here. I think you want to sort of at least stay in this consolidation period. Like as I said, not everybody's trading work very well with the break, and this is also so you break, you bounce on the horizontal, retest underside of the channel, and then you get your big meltdown over here. So yeah, certainly again, metals as a whole, I think a little bit of work to be done with these sort of things here. Excuse me. Yeah, 11 o'clock. So yes, it's a bit hard to sort of call this here because I think sort of like as I said, you've got a little bit of a horizontal here, you got a falling horizontal, you got underside here, you got um, larger sort of horizontal through this zone over here. A lot of work to be done. Above 32.20, and that's kind of minimum before you're going to see something spectacular. I think. Look, I mean, you could sort of try and draw out a little sort of support, like if you want to sort of go intra-session, something like this. But I'm not really a fan of the size thing here. I think there's still the danger here is that you sort of have broken this channel. You bounce where you should have, yeah, but I think you could also see a dribble back down over here. The sort of uh, can't think of the word at the moment. Lost all the words. But not confluence. No. Anyway, the fact that it's God, it'll come to me in a minute. But the fact that it's not running in line with sort of DXY or anything like this at the moment is this is going to annoy me. No, I've resided. My brain's just deleted that word. Anyway, whatever. The general idea, country starts with C. That's all I can remember at the moment. Anyway, point being is that you know what I mean. When you're sort of looking for these sort of things, you're looking, okay, how is sort of like DXY running? You can't use these things as much at the moment because they're just out. You know what I mean? Like sort of whereas it's worked well in the past, it's just not working so well at the moment. So trade these things almost a little bit individually, and we can see how we go. Look, if we sort of pop above sort of 32. Okay, maybe because we've got a little bit of a zone through. Actually, I'll drag this one up here. So that's probably an area. So look, I'd say if you look at a scale, that's something you could be looking for a long topside move. But I think the risk is more to the downside through here to really test this seller kind of thing and see the resolve of these buyers. So I think if we sort of get back down to this zone over here again, I wouldn't mind trying to get long from 31.50, but I'm reluctant to sort of short it necessarily through this area. All right, rock long, and we got Aussie grinding to the top side here. So we had a bit of data out, well, we had a bit of news out yesterday, which I covered at the time, with the potential headline, and I saw a couple of news articles on it later on, of Australia potentially being exempt from tariffs. You know, Trump's gone out and said, look, 25% tariff on everybody. They're now sort of talking about how Australia had sort of can't think of the word here, but not ripped them off, but sort of hadn't sort of lived up to their end of the deal kind of thing in terms of aluminium exports from potentially a year ago or something like this. Sorry, 10 years ago. So, yeah, there's these sort of things. But at the same time, and I think these things came prior to Albanese and Trump having a conversation. Trump seemed fairly well receiving of Albanese, saying, oh, we had a good chat with a great guy, yada yada. We're in a deficit, surplus? No, deficit. Or the US is in deficit, surplus to us. I don't know, I can't remember which way around it is. Anyway, point being is that that's why we may be exempt. Now, I put this on X and that at the time because, as I said yesterday in the video, these things are sort of like, more just talk at this stage. It's like everything that seems at the moment. It's like a game of Chinese whispers, crossed with a game of bingo. But these things, should it eventuate, are going to sort of probably be quite positive for Aussie. Because as you think, exports is a big thing for us. If we're exempt from tariffs, there's going to be a lot more sort of export to be done over there because, what I mean, like everybody else is paying high tariffs and that. Well, why wouldn't they pick up one with lower, exempt from tariff, no tariff? Um, this is going to be great for Aussie should this come. Now, of course, everything's just talk at this stage, so it's a headline to be watching out for. But I would expect if we do see that headline actually sort of become a reality, I think that we could sort of see Aussie very much appreciate. So at the moment, we're at sort of one of two kind of breakout periods. This is the call from the weekend, was the idea that, we drop down low. This was a great call as well, that we sort of come down early, spike out the bottom here. If you watch the weekend analysis, that's what the call was. Follow the Friday flow from the NFP, bang, shakedown here, similar price action to last week, and then poof, back up into this range. And it has, and it's moving along, and is of course testing the top side here at the moment. Now, as I said, DXY potential for a little bit of a flare up here. It's refused to break that major zone. That's fine. As I said, coming into large bits of data, we don't expect those things to happen. But at the moment, it is looking like it wants to push up a little bit more. We do have targets topside. Obviously, there's still that little gap at sort of 63.10, unable to quite get there. Where we get to 63.01. I would say this is the area that you're kind of looking for should we see some sort of little break. So as I said, I don't think we're going to, as I keep saying actually, I don't think we're going to get sort of breaks on, this over here. I don't think we're going to get breaks on DXY prior to the data. But as I said, similar to the NFP, there's a potential for us to move up or move down and then sort of oscillate back. I'm talking DXY here, and US dollar flows across the market. Should that happen, should we see a little bit of a drift down on DXY, well, that opens it up for a little bit of sort of US dollar selling across the board, which could give us a little bit of a push here. If it does come, we've got our targets up above 20, 30 points or so. DXY should oscillate back, no breakouts prior to the data. That'll come in line with these potential highs, and then we'll see a bit of a pushback down here. So I think instead of this kind of breakout, you're probably looking more something like this, and then maybe if you're lucky, this one here, but we'll see how we go. But I think this part of it is definitely the area that we're sort of targeting at the moment. If you look at it in sense of a move from Monday, last week's lows, it's moved up and it's just consolidating the highs. So, the pullback here was to the 23%. This is where fibs work very well. That's very much bullish momentum for continuation. It's bashing along the top here, and it's trying to push out to the top side here. I do think we're sort of in the last part of this potential move through here, unless we get, as I said, a very weak CPI, and a weak CPI is probably going to sort of be the sort of juice for the breakouts. and above 63.30, we're going to see that. And this is the thing. This is where you're going to get a lot of stops are going to be sitting around here. And I imagine a pretty quick move up to 63.70s. See what happens around there. Of course, depending on the speed of it all, you got the rising, you got this horizontal. I reckon you got some sort of short-term targets here, and then we can move along to our main sort of target, which is up at 64. But step by step, first thing, above 63, hold. Second step, above 63.30, and hold. You want to close, realistically, probably 4-hour minimum. The RSI here is very much supportive of another little pusher here. A little bit of a sort of indecision at the resistance, which is fine. But again, look at these things, because I've covered this on a couple of these things. The market here, I mean, if you go way back here, but sold it down here. Had another shot, first time back to it, sold it down. Second up to it, sold it down. Third time not. I mean, it hasn't gone through yet, but these are very small sell downs. Look at how deep these things are. I mean, this is a solid bearish, think about it, big bearish candle. This is bearish, came into it again, bearish, came into it again, really bearish, bang, moved right into there. So above 63.02, we're probably looking for 63.20 to be on the safe side, bottom side of that range, I'd say. And then sort of see what happens with the market at that point there. Should we get that little break? All right, tip along, we've got copper. And copper, another one, overshot the price target. That's fine. I mean, the price target wasn't that big from where it was. This was the weekend analysis. So I think where were we Saturday? This one here. So this is where we finished the week. I said, look, it's only a little bit more to the price target, which was 1%. Bang, it took it out, boom. Yesterday's vid, I said, look, we're coming into a high time frame resistance area. If you zoom right back, you can see why. We can see that the market has sort of bought it here, sold it here. This is part of this break through this area here. This move's come a lot quicker actually, because remember, if we sort of go back, this is what we were looking at, where we had this big sort of big falling resistance, and it powered through. This is the sort of area in which we were looking for this sort of like break through here. And as you can see, break stuffs around with it a little bit, but it's broken way up here. So look, again, you can see that sellers have been here, sellers have been here, sellers have been here. Come into it, sellers are there. So it is a very fast move through this area here. If it's a break of this box, and it's taken off here. So this move through here. So having a bit of a cool off isn't the end of the world. You start to sort of work similar with it all. And this is what I say is cross chart confluence. That you come into sort of a resistance area with copper around the same time that you see a massive sell off with gold. I mean, that's just these sort of metals. Yes, they're different metals. Yes, they got different applications, but they are both still metals, and they're both moving, and both sort of got sold off quite heavily yesterday. Did one cause the other? Who knows? But these things do come in to their respective areas and get sold in similar price actions from time to time. So something to sort of keep in mind here. But as I've seen, you got your measure move got played out. You've got sort of high time frame resistance. There was a couple of areas for people to sort of be taking profit on this one here. I mean, this has been a massive move. If we look through here, that's 12.5% from the lows of that breakout move there. So yeah, it has been absolutely ripping. So yeah, we'll see what happens. With these kind of sort of setups like this, typically what I'd probably expect is a move up here. Maybe then we could sort of just see a little bit of a stuffing around here. But body fills, remember, for these sort of things, if we get back up to here, That's four. So the four, I would say that it'll probably get there and you'll see another round of selling. So I don't think this is necessarily just going to go and put in another leg up here. But I do think we probably have some upside here, which again could sort of come in line with a little bit of a push on Aussie, and then sort of maybe a little bit of a sell back down here. We're a little bit overbought. This is on the daily now. If we go on to the 4 hour, this looks like it may sort of come up here. Look for sort of like 4.7. Yeah, 4.7, and then sort of maybe a little bit of a sort of sell down here. But I imagine realistically, I don't think this is going to be the be all end all top. It's a reason, it's a technical reason for people to sell it down from here, and they did. So, you know, they took their profits, that kind of stuff. So, look, I could see this probably sort of moving up a little bit before sort of coming back down, but more or less just sort of consolidating around these highs here for now. And finally, flip across to China. And China, look, it's certainly the sellers are holding it. It's been a very uneventful, and this is what I say. This is the grind. I'm going to call it the grind train. The grind train is just absolutely doing exactly what it does. Let's move this up now. That's our little range. I did have this lower here because, of course, yeah, I thought the downside this may sort of offer a little bit of an area, but this is the area that we want to see. I want to see this alert here. This isn't going to be anything major. This breaking short-term consolidation downside. It's really just been sitting mega flat here. Now we got some potential China tariffs coming on Monday, so that's something to keep in the back pocket there. Well, keep in mind, sorry. But as I said, I think that sort of like this push down here is probably what we're seeing. I mean, look, it's pushed back up, unable to go higher so far. It doesn't mean it can't just grind up here. If we look at previous price actions with this, it's bounced up here, grind, bang, up to the top side here. So it's very sensitive to the sort of bits of news and that. Though I think they had a bit of a chat. Well, they did have a bit of a chat, but I think it's come out now that it was a little bit of a happier kind of sort of chat. So hence they don't need to sort of send the one right up over here. But for now, you just got to wait for this little box to break. I think there's a bunch of supports down here that you're going to have to be taken out. So you really want to get down underneath 729. But I would suspect that we're probably going to be rolling over a little bit here. It's moved up. RSI is looking like the buying pressure is not really doing much. It's holding it flat. Not really too much to say. I think wait for this box to break, then make the call from there and sort of see what we're going to sort of see with it all. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a push down and then sort of just a drift back up into this area. As I said, with DXY as well. But I'm not banking the house on that one. So we'll have to wait and see with that. Gold silver ratio, just quickly as well, as we're seeing, really cream into the top over here. And this is actually taken out now. We go back. We're going back to January 24. So gold silver ratio, really, when we started to see a big push, remember Jan 24, last year we did, I think, what was it, 30% in gold? Some ridiculous amount. Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. This is kind of what got it going to there, right down to the bottom, and it is just ground all the way to the top over here. Obviously, this is where sellers are trying to keep it in. It sort of sold off quite heavy as it got into that area. Gold's been on a rip with this, obviously. Yeah, everyone knows that. Should this break down a little bit lower, you could probably see things, I would say. Silver definitely sort of play a little bit of catch up. But, you know, it's a lot of work to get this back down over here now. You can see they're trying to hold it, and they just keep ripping up high here. So till this gets back down really underneath 89.70, you're looking at consolidating this top part over here. RSI looks, this is on the 4 hour, RSI looks like it would probably be happy to take another leg down here, which could give us a little bit of a push in metals, and possibly, as I said, sort of see a little bit of reprieve in silver and gold, even in the short term, but I don't think we're looking for any sort of major breakouts at this sort of point. All right, look at the data. So where are we at? Wednesday, 12th coming through here. Again, pretty quiet through Asia. Wait, That was, no, this was in the morning. So this is, let me refresh this one. This is Powell talking overnight. I haven't actually seen how this happened, but of course we saw how the US dollar acted. Trump spoke this morning as well. Again, I haven't got any headlines on these things, so I haven't seen anything major. And short of that, absolutely nothing. Nothing through Asia. A little bit of sort of like Japanese data. That's about it. Tentative. Okay, I assume this is tentative in this particular area. I don't know why it would be so late if it was China data, but we'll see how we go. And of course, tonight, CPI, this is the main one. So expectation is to come in flat. If we do see this tick up into the threes, we're going to see US dollar probably sort of push back up off those supports. Higher number, the harder it's going to push. Should this come in at 2.9 or lower, I think they'd be happy with that. I think they're happy as long as it's sort of, yes, it's sticky, that kind of thing. But I think they're happy enough for it to um, sort of like just not be going up, if that kind of makes sense for now. So they can sort of keep on their sort of idea of cutting and this kind of thing. Month on month looking to tick down, and then core month on month to go up. So really a bit of a mixed bag here. We've got one expectation of a hold, one expectation of a tick down, one expectation of a tick up, kind of all over the board there. And then we got Powell talking again at 2 a.m. and a bunch of sort of things early hours, but nothing really massively of note through there. All right, that's it from